attending day two of the hackathon. And the expectation coming into this, Richard initially came in with affiliate, but I wanted to add a little bit more of a spice, especially for candidates and people who are currently in jobs. Right now, we need to stand out in our careers. It is not just about applying anymore. AI is starting to get smarter. And while we build that knowledge, we need to show proof. If we can't show proof of how we're excelling and how we are progressing in the space, you will not get that job or you will not be noticed within your organization. So, a part of my exercise is actually going through what you're going to do with your hackathon. But additionally, this exercise is also allowing you to understand the problems and those personas and those niches that you thought about, how you're going to market that. If you're having a hard time communicating that problem and understanding that why and outcome, then that's also going to preface into essentially if this is the right niche that you should be delving into. So I will get started and share my screen. Boom, boom.
Boom.
Do y'all see my screen before I just go in my little tangent? No,
Hang
I
on.
see.
Yeah, it looks way it's way more user friendly than Miro FigJam.
Let me tell you, Miro is dealing with so many bugs. It took me a very long time to create any content.
Yes.
So efficiency is key. So that was a big reason why we switched over. I just want to go straight into what are the expectations of this call. You should have from yesterday probably have a good idea what your defined niche is, what your clear persona is, and your problem statement. So I want you to understand from this project coming out of it, I don't want this to just sit in an archive. I want you guys to share this with your current boss. Share this with a prospective employer. Put these applications out there because the more you're doing this, this also is going to help you become a better product manager and someone more efficient within AI itself. Um, so I'm gonna go straight into it. So essentially, I'm gonna give you a bit of my background. I'm actually started in marketing. So storytelling is a big part of what you're really selling as that key outcome and why people are going to be initially interested in that said concept. And this is something for PMs right now, they really need to utilize this skill. It is not, and I'm going to keep saying this, the more your voice is out there, the more proof is that you're just not putting prompts in these generative AI pieces. You actually have context into these areas. You have a voice, you have a clear pattern. So in this area, with the channels, there will be different channels that you will be testing. There is the job applications. How can I communicate this in cover letters, resumes, and a portfolio? Um, Within social media channels, how can I bring this message out to a wider net audience? And finally, in interviewing or you're talking in your workplace, which I will hone in more on the candidate landscape, how can you communicate this message? The idea is that you are currently working on things and these organizations want you. They don't need you because right now there is an underlying trend within LinkedIn and all these communities about how I'm looking for a job. Instead of bringing that message, being like, you should give me the job. Essentially going into it with like, I have the skills, I have that discipline. And this course set is not about getting the most likes or engagements. It's about getting the right impressions and interactions to the right audiences, which is hiring managers. And at the end of the day, those are the people that are keeping our jobs. So let me get started. Um, when you guys come out of the hackathon, whether, and this is going to be a clear statement, You guys might be dealing with trials. You might be exploring other platforms. At the end of the hackathon, please record this video. It's showing evidence that you actually have a livable, viable hackathon project that you can share. So the video is that absolute source. Um, I want to go into what is going to be the recommended video structure. I think it's key to be within 5 minutes. Make it very clear in that construct. One thing that I think Rich has noted in the last demos, and something you should also work on as part of the video itself, is actually showing the product, not just essentially showing all these different diagrams, all these different areas. Be clear in that product. So within each transition, you're knowing exactly what you're going through. And as you go through like a core use case, which is essentially what is the core outcome you're trying to achieve? You're not going through 50 different areas of the product bundle, which if you guys are doing that, that is not a hackathon project. Be very clear and distinct in what that flow looks like from A to Z. You don't have to show all the error handling. You just have to go through that desired outcome. And then finally just call out like the recommended use case. Like you can also like go into like what areas you're looking for to build out in the product. What were those learnings that you had? Because in hackathons, typically they also give insights and feedback. So pulling this in and just giving that overview. Um, One person I would say that does very good video overviews and demonstrations is in the instructor. His name is Kel Wu. Rich, I think we all know him. He does a great design on how you can redesign portfolios. He's had some videos within the his hackathons and vibe coding itself. So I think it's key to really see what other people are doing in this space. He's gotten great engagement within LinkedIn, which is why I'm like giving him a shout out. And I don't even think he's here, but he deserves that kudos because he recently got a job at Clover. So as you see, showing that you are not only building portfolios, but also building yourself. So I want these videos to be the cornerstone of you essentially starting to build out that criteria. I'm going to go back. Now that you've built this video around the hackathon, where are you adding this? There's 3 places you're essentially adding this. You can add it in your cover letter, your resume, and your portfolio. Your resume, when you're showcasing this is typically, and I will just go straight to the example. You will be seeing a placement such as projects and portfolio. This is actually a section that is tapped into with Product Gym, Elevate. This is allowing them to see kind of a brief overview of some of these areas. Things to note when you do have the video is directly putting the link there, having the people exactly see this project. If you guys are in a current period where you're laid off and you're having a career break, actually showcasing that you're currently building stuff now is showing that you're just not sitting there and doing a bunch of streaming on Netflix. Like you're actually putting the work in. And this is something that is a great example of that. I think treating it like here's just the overall do's and don'ts. When it comes to like the resume section, don't be vague. Try to be try to be specific. So when I talked about day 1 of describing your niche, go into that area. Be able to give some concepts and insights. And one thing to note with your projects, if you're going into certain industries, actually bring forth the projects that are actually going to resonate with that clientele. I think that's going to be important. That's how you should be taking this. And that's when I was working on some of my resume. I actually would optimize some of that depending on the industry. So that's one thing to keep in mind there. So with the portfolio, this is probably the most important place to put your side projects because in some cases, I don't know about you, I've worked in finance. There are some things you can and cannot share. This is the place where you can share your insights and intel. So you need a clear image of the product. You're not just putting a hackathon, like you're not just like putting a broad statement. Take an image of the project that you have, likely the core focus of that product. In UX, funny enough, most converted UX portfolios happen when it's the core feature function. So take an image of that core feature function as that as that hero image. Give a short overview of what it does, and then show the video. If you're not giving an overview and you're just giving a few words, just like your resume, giving a few words, who is this PM that's trying to get this role, or who is this individual? Why are they qualified for this? So as long as you're going over that, we'll do that. And Rich, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. But I know you're like, no. But Rich has some great portfolio examples. I can keep going on the cover letter if you want. I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, give me a second here. What kind of examples do you want me to show?
Anything that our product gym community has shared, like just the ones you shared previously.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
give me a second here.
I would rather show you guys ones that are actually not mine than because I also deal with a lot of NDAs. So mine is a bunch of scrap. Mine has a bunch of, um, but I think there are some great ones that I wanted to showcase, which is why. Um,
Okay, yeah, actually, let me share my screen right now.
yeah, go ahead.
All right. There's basically one called the Kickoff Club HQ. There's actually been a lot of updates that's been made here. So,
Um,
oh, hang
so
on.
someone said it's not on, like chat isn't on. Should
Oh,
we?
give me a second here.
Okay.
James, give me a second.
Yeah, it's only enable for us, so
Oh,
there we
okay.
go.
All right. Does it work now, everybody?
Yep,
Chat?
perfect.
Okay. All right. So this was actually like a pretty cool one. It's called Kickoff Club HQ. So the entire premise of this app was to go ahead and actually like train, I don't know, educate people on football. Uh, I never watched football really growing up. I'm not really like a fan of the sport. I'm a Tom Brady fan though. But like a lot of people do feel that they should know a little bit about football to get ahead in their job, like to go ahead and kind of like mingle, especially if it's like the first tech recruiting agency I worked at, where I got actually owe a lot of my success to them. The headquarters were Boston, and every Sunday, all the higher ups would be at this one like they raved about this one Bostonian bar, which we all thought us like LA natives thought was like hot garbage. But they're like, "Oh man, it's great. It's just like Boston." But I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, it's great." But like, they built this thing. Jumani built this to go out there and kind of educate people on the gap, like just like football. There's another one out here where we had. Somebody built like their own Clipper market, vibe coded their own Clipper market. So I was like, if you feel too, let me give you guys like another example. This is actually one from Gopal. But if you feel too, I would say you feel like there's a lot of friction and procrastination actually having like a full on like portfolio site where you have like a bunch of different types of portfolio projects on. There's something else that you could just do is just have one. project as, and that could just be your portfolio, right? So it comes in like various shapes and sizes, but they just want to see you drop something. And the most important thing is you're shipping something quickly because that is an adage that we say in product, which is like ship fast and ship often. You want to just move quickly, gather feedback. It's never going to be perfect. I spent There's a webinar recap email that I fired off after yesterday's hackathon, Kylie. And I
Mhm.
just told myself I was working on it for about like 15 minutes, and I was looking at the minute clickers like minute 22, and I was like, no, in 5 minutes it's going out because I can't spend all day on this one webinar recap email, making sure everybody's like properly tagged and everything. So, yeah, those are some of the examples there.
Yeah, I'm also going to just to let you know, showcase how to do this on LinkedIn as well. That was a strategy I actually implemented. So when I do head into the like social media category, I'll definitely go into that. I will start sharing again because sharing is caring. So do. Okay, perfect. So you also do have the ability to showcase this in a cover letter. I would say use this depending on if you want to add some more experience or it's relevant, especially within the like the AI or a specific role or specific project resonates. They love hearing that input. So I think understanding what the problem was, the constraints and the project signals and the ability to execute and give that reason. So I just gave an example of one I actually put in my cover letter. I then actually linked directly to the video of the overview. So essentially, it's just giving insight into this project. I would say it could be a paragraph or two where you're like, I am participating in hackathons as part of building my skill and learning. As long as you're giving that context, that is key. But this isn't always required. It just might add a little oomph if they're like essentially like, what does this like? How is this person qualified for this set initiative? So I'm gonna go up and we are going to go into social media from a candidate and hiring perspective. One thing to note with Richard, he's going to bring in other social media factors. I am pointing these out in green because I would say these are the key two that hiring managers are looking at, which is LinkedIn and YouTube. Your LinkedIn is also essentially your portfolio. That is where they're hearing how you think about things from a product perspective or within the AI lens. YouTube is essentially explaining that content. You could definitely go into the other areas as well. Um, but essentially bringing that voice out, this will allow them to understand. And to give you context of like the job I essentially got at Bill Trust, I told them to look at my LinkedIn profile to be like, I'm a thought leader. Here's the proof. And they were even looking at content that I was speaking about. So that really matters when it comes down to getting the attention and also getting attention from your current employers as well. Being like, hey, this is what I did. Share that little post with them. You'll be surprised how receptive they are when it comes to this. So kind of the framework to follow within the vibe coding platform itself. It's just what's the problem, what's the action, what's the insight, and the link. If you're not sending the link, um, in this case, that is more of like a recap, but overall, you definitely need to show the proof of that concept. Um, I am actually going to go into my LinkedIn profile to surface how I'm communicating this message. So in the hackathon, you will see I put it slap dab in the features. That is something that Richard has explained within Product Gym. And if you participate in there, he'll actually help you build out your portfolio. Featured is essentially putting your projects right on the top. So you'll see here that I essentially have my project here. You'll then see how it is connected. And I also, as part of my candidate strategy, would then use this link, being like, oh, you should check out this like post that I initially did, allowing them to understand that concept is quite key. So I wanted to share more of that construct when it comes to that. And you should definitely, as part of this walkthrough, um, also make sure it's on YouTube. So you have that grounding source. If you don't have that source, then essentially, if your free trial ends, at least you can show a full experience. So that is quite key. And then you can put it on any other social media platforms that you want. So I actually was directly linking this to hiring managers, being like, hey, hiring managers, you should look at this like hackathon that I participated in. They then like resonated, and that actually allowed me to convert into those rounds. So surfacing that is quite key. So I will go down. I do have some example videos. Unfortunately, I will give the links of these. You can take this in a variety of ways. You can do some screenshots. When it comes to Twitter, you can do a edited video, and then you can go through that entire experience. Note with the context of the format, just follow the character context and best practices there. You'd be surprised. Richard was, I think, previously saying yesterday how there was one user who generated over 5 million. He will share that in a little bit. But that is kind of some key areas. And the content ideas don't just stop from there. Give an updated version of your demo. Keep building it out. What is the reflection you used in the vibe coding tool? Like a takeaway, those discussions. I'm going to go back here for my LinkedIn to give you concepts because I have these images here. Doot, doot, doot. I then added additional posts on vibe coding. I then had 10 vibe coding platforms actually reach out to me to do a free trial and not pay for it for multiple months. So there's an opportunity to also get free tools as well and also prove like I literally had hiring managers say, "Oh, like I actually saw this like recap." Continually iterate. The key thing is you got to come out of here thinking yourself as a thought leader, not just someone that's sitting on the sidelines. That's not what a PM does. They drive initiative. So being critical with that is key. And then finally, we're going to talk about interviewing as a signal. It's essentially when you raise this question. And first and foremost, if y'all are in any interviews this week, you can casually say, and this is what I've said in multiple, being like, hey, I participated in a hackathon this week. I instantly got their attention and they were like, oh, what are you building? From recruiters, hiring managers. And once I did that, I didn't even have to go into my pitch. I had like probably over 20 companies that instantly converted me. And I just went into that one concept. So showcasing that you're actually doing something outside of your job, outside like, and you're passionate about this space matters. So that is one quick anecdote there. I would say good moments to introduce it is like walking through a recent project, especially for people that are recently laid off just based on how this economy is. That's a great way to anchor in like, hey, I'm still working on things. So it surfaces that key attention. You could tell about a time you learned something quickly. Link to that post that you just shared. You could then be like, oh, I talked about this. And then tell me about your background. Like you'll just essentially be giving an overview there. And so with this, if you're ever going from a project's perspective, go into the problem you chose and why, the constraints you were working within, the key decisions that were made, and what you intentionally did not build. You can also go into this telling if your project does not work out, tell them why it didn't work out. because the best PMs actually know when not to invest in something further. I do want you guys to come into it with a successful outcome, but in some cases, I actually have a project where I was coming into this and it didn't work out as planned. So I think also going from those learnings are actually quite beneficial as well. Um, so when you're kind of going in, and I'm going to share you an email template that I actually used, talking about the conversation and then essentially giving them the demo link, proving that you're actually giving context. Um, it is not just about building your audience, it's about building your employee branding. This is what's happening within 2026. If you're not following this construct, frankly, this is why there are people that are getting jobs in this space and getting promoted, and they're the ones that are keep growing within the fields themselves. So this is all I got. And Richard, you can take it over when it comes to the distribution growth.
Very cool. Yeah. So, Kylie mentioned like a few things. First of all, like, does anybody have any questions for like what Kylie just said? And then while you guys are piping in, if you guys can just pop it into the Q&A button, we'd love to go ahead and get those questions answered.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, I did want to go ahead and mention something where da, 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 da. Okay. So this is actually called the textbook term right now is actually called UGC or something called user generated content. So I'm currently right now on the Claude Instagram page, and then I'm gonna go ahead and show also the Perplexity Instagram page. And one of the best ways for you to actually stand out right now is actually somebody's like, hey, do you know how to use Claude? You can actually go ahead, record a video. It doesn't have to be actually very fancy, but you can record a video of Claude right now on Instagram, tag Claude as a collaborator. Like, you know how like sometimes like let's just say me and James here is watching I don't know, Top Gun, right? And we're like, Tom Cruise is great on Instagram. And then like let's just say Tom Cruise decides to repost it on his stories like have fun with the movie, like enjoy the movie, boys, like and people are doing that, right? A lot of like TikTok influencers are doing it with like they'll do a dance for a new song that Lady Gaga put out, and then they tag Lady Gaga, and Lady Gaga decides to go out there and upload it to Instagram, and then you'll have that person go like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it," and a bunch of people go out there and see that. You could very well, very easily right now for your side project. I don't know why more people don't do it, but the threshold is actually not difficult. I'll prove it to you guys. Like everybody drop a video by Friday. Make a video where you guys are vibe coding off of this thing. Tag Claude as a collaborator, and then you can make this right here. You don't have to be approved or anything. You just go out there and make a little post, a little caption, and then you go to @Claude and you go to hashtag Claude partner, right? Or you can go ahead and this one here is Perplexity. I'm on the Perplexity page right now. And this is the Perplexity IG page. And then you click on this, and this is comment, right? And he also said Perplexity comment is now available to everyone for free. There's some serious cybersecurity implications on this. I don't know if you guys really want to hop on. I'm holding out for a little bit. I'm just gonna stick with Chrome and the old school, right? But here, hashtag comment partner @Perplexity. You promote anybody enough, they will give you free shit. When I first got to New York and I was broke, I actually found this hack out of nowhere. But there was this pizza place. It's called A Pizza on 29th. On 29th and Broadway. And they're just I don't know. I felt a little happy that day, but I was like, yo, this is like most awesome pizza, but the pizza game in LA was so amateur anyways. And then they actually said like, hey, I would love to invite you. I would love the manager said, I would love to invite you guys to just come back. Why don't you guys take a photo? And I said, is it okay if I invite my team? Because I actually went out there with like a few of the team members at the time, and she's like, yeah, bring them all over here. It's nothing, right? So you take some photos, and then after that, I kind of realized. Um, if you go out there and give a restaurant a shout out, you can go out there and get free meals. It's very, very, very essential skill first moving to New York. So if you're thinking like it's not exactly like a chicken and an egg situation, um, they're not going to pay you to promote them. You should just start promoting them as if you were a paid partner, and you'd be amazed where like you're just gonna go ahead and like get referred. I'll give you guys also like another quick example because it'll really help you stand out in an interview. Think about it this way. If they ask you like, hey, like Steve, do you know how to use Manus? Like Manus, I'm a Manus partner. Let me show you my IG, right? It's like, oh shit, that's actually hot. The CEO of a company is actually called Brain Trust. So this guy right here, I'll show you guys another one. So just to go out there and highlight this shit myself, there's a company, it's called Brain Trust, and that's actually the CEO right here. And I just decided to go out there and promote him, right? Actually, this was my old apartment. James was sitting right there in the back. But I was like, yo, this is a really cool company. It's an AI-driven recruiting platform. I refer people, crazy enough, for product manager roles, and then they go out there and give me tokens. Currently, right now, that's the number of tokens that I basically have. Like 19,700 is like my lifetime. If I go ahead and search, actually, no. What is it right now? Okay, Brain Trust to USD, right? You hit that, and then you have like Coinbase. I have like what, 19,000 right now? That's like 2,300 bucks. Not a lot of money. Not bad. Not a lot of money, right? But I just kept referring them. I was like, yo, I think it's like great. I refer people. It's an AI driven platform. And then they're like, yo, would you like to be a brand ambassador for us? And then now you get paid posts. So you don't have to like, you guys just got to take Usha, wherever you guys are out there, as talking, you guys just got to go out there and just take a little bit more action. Like a lot of those guys that get paid to go out there and promote NAN, that's how they actually started. You guys should definitely do it with Madness right now. A lot of the ChatGPT partners, that's actually how they got started. And then, so promote, 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 promote.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm also going to add like I've gotten some feature articles because I've reposted and shared my thoughts, and that takes less than a minute
yeah.
um to put that out there. So not only think about it from this construct, but think about it like in that, and it's just text and you're just featuring them. So as long as you're like building that relationship, that's where also people will follow and like generate attention towards you. Yeah.
It's all about that attention game. So let's actually hang on before we get to the distribution part of it. Uh, Let me go ahead and text James back real quick. Okay. How do you protect the ideas that you are working on? Um,
I could take this one. You don't. Um, unless you're that brilliant, Vaishali, and you've thought of an idea that's that groundbreaking, and you also have the chops to build something that's that exotic, you just don't. Um, yeah, an idea is as good as like the toilet paper you wipe your ass with until you execute on it, until you deliver on it, until you get users on it, until you drive revenue to it. And so, yeah, that's the easiest question that we've gotten in a while.
Yeah, I would also just add to that. That is what the competitive landscape is. That's how it naturally operates. So that's why vibe coding is so critical and why you guys need to learn this because it'll allow you to ideate faster. So instead of just waiting, you guys have the ability to essentially bring things out. So if you continue that momentum, you can hit that market, but if your product is good and there are competitors that are coming in, that is a key thing that's also saying, I'm actually doing something that is warranting attention. So also think of it as a little, I think of it sometimes, copycat is a form of a compliment for product.
100%.
100%, yo. Yeah. David, did you want to go ahead and harp on that? You said you can answer that.
Yeah. So, oh, wait a minute. I can't even see myself. Yeah. Well, anywho, so I've actually started my own product strategy consulting for startups here in LA. Been doing it since I finished
Cool.
PG years ago, right? And oftentimes when I get picked up by startups, there's always going to be that one guy that goes, "Well, I don't want to go tell you everything, and you have to sign NDAs." Trust me when I say this, ideas are cheap. The execution is the most expensive thing because so many people are stuck in their own heads thinking that it's going to be stolen. But in reality of things, unless you can actually do it,
Yeah.
get product market fit and get proper pricing involved, it ain't shit. So there you go.
Yeah. Give you guys some context there. Vaishali is from the UK. You know, they like their in America, we just steal that shit. As President Maduro just found out. Uh,
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it as an American citizen. Um, awesome. Let's moving on to Nina, right? Um, there was a couple of Ninas. So I'm wondering if you're the same Nina from yesterday. Will you be creating a video for this hackathon? So we will be creating. Can you maybe clarify there, Nina? Are you asking whether or not video is the outcome? A product is the outcome.
let me give her
Um,
context. Yeah, if you can clarify, Nina.
Oh, can I speak? Can you guys hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh,
Talk,
cool,
talk,
cool,
talk. We
cool.
want to know.
Okay. So to clarify, I read that we would be presenting a project or something like that at the end of this workshop. So my question is a video required to be presented as part of that project?
No, it's not required for demo day, but a key reason why we're bringing the marketing, and I want to preface this earlier, if you actually understand how to market the product, that is also a good signal whether or not it's actually a good like product or something to invest in. So that's why like we've positioned this section, but that is something you can do post. I would just encourage you to track it, especially since I imagine not everyone is like investing in vibe coding tools, so it allows you to kind of have that artifact. So thanks for the question, Nina.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And yes, James, I'm
yeah.
I'm the same Nina from yesterday.
Oh,
Thanks.
awesome. Yeah, so basically the video is a way for you to not have to pull up the app. It's just basically a quick 10-second ad for what you built. And so whether or not you want to produce one, it's I could be wrong there, but um ultimately you want to be able to market and be creating assets around what you built is I think key.
Yeah, and then give me a second here.
Yeah, I was looking for the waffle link.
I got you.
Share on
Webinar
stage.
recording is here inside the WAP. So we don't want to share everything, but give me one more quick. Let's see here. Where do I find the recording of these sessions? I just popped it in, and then give me a second. Any other questions that we have before we talk about distribution? Cool. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about distribution then. So let's just say right now, so this is actually my portion of it. Let me go ahead and grab my little mural board out here. Ooh. Actually, hang on. Where's the fig jam? You know what? For the sake of you guys not wanting to murder me, I'm just gonna go ahead and use a Miro. I can already feel like The antsiness. It's like, show us the fucking shit. All right, let's get it. All right, so you guys have a product right now, right? And this product right now can be called Chosen. So Chosen, which I'm happy to help Kylie promote, is going to be a let's call it something fancy, right? So it's going to be an AI, voice AI product manager mock interview partner. We can call it whatever we want, right? But essentially speaking is we're solving the pain point right now where you got to go ahead and you got to get more interview practice. Because if you practice more in your interview and you're on the interview, then you have a better chance of converting that interview into an offer because you don't want to do more interviews, right? So how do we go ahead and take this bad boy and drive it all the way down here, which is your bank account? Right. What journey does that have to go through? Well, for starters here, you actually need something called a checkout link or Stripe or WAP links. So you actually have to be able to collect payments. So for the meantime, and some of you guys might ask me, well, it's like, I'm not in the US, I'm an international student. Okay, let me just go through just some basics for you right now. If you want to make money off of your app, if you want to make money off of your idea, you have to legally be able to collect payments beyond cash or a brown paper bag. Okay. And in order for you to do that, you need a few things. You need, number one, you need an EIN number, which means you need to also go ahead and incorporate, which means you also need a business bank account. And then you also need a payment processor. Now, why am I telling you guys all of this right now? It's very important that you guys actually listen up because the reality is this is not something that's going to happen in 24 hours. You have to contact a CPA or some kind of accountant, or if you want to do it on some website, you can. But this can take anywhere between 7 to 10 days. Now, us out here in America, we just came back from the shutdown. There's no telling whether or not we'll have another one, right? This could take about 7 to 10 days. Once you get this could take another 5 business days. And once you get this, to get approved on Stripe or to get approved on WAP, it might take you another, I would say, 5 to 10 business days. All of that time, all in, you're talking about anywhere between 30 to 45 days. You want to get that thing going because most of you are going to be thinking, well, let's just see what happens. Let's just go out there and make money. Because if you're not doing this to make money, I mean, why the hell are you even doing it in the first place, right? Because during the 40 days, 35 to 40 days, it's going to take you to get all this shit together. You want to do a lot of give marketing. So Gary Vee, if you guys know him, okay. So for those of you guys who don't know, he's like kind of like the father of like modern day marketing. Okay, I'm gonna flex because hopefully you guys think I'm cooler if I took a photo with the guy at Hudson Yards. But like he has this methodology. It's called give, 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 ask. So you want to give is like, yo, give, pay me, fuck you. Pay me, fuck you. You want to fuck you, right? You want to give so much free shit that they think that, wow, if the free shit is this good, the paid shit must be so much fucking better. And because you can't collect anyways, you should just be giving really high quality free shit. Right? And you got a 30 to 45 day window. All right, Rich. So that's step one. So what do I do in the meantime while I'm waiting for, the very fast working US government to go ahead and get in on this? Well, let's talk about what modes that you can go out there and mobilize strangers into your community, into your bank account. Number one of the fastest ways is going to be short form video. You record it off of a TikTok, and then you can repurpose that bad boy to YouTube, to Instagram, okay, and to LinkedIn. You can upload short form videos on LinkedIn, right? Another thing here is you can also go ahead and do long form video. And you can go ahead and actually go ahead and do YouTube. And that's YouTube. People are going to ask me, like, is short form better or long form better? I'm going to say both. Okay. Short form people, you get a lot of you get a lot of doom scrollers, right? Long form video, you definitely get somebody more engaged because the longer they watch your shit, the more likely they're going to go ahead and buy your shit, right? So what else can we go ahead and do? Well, Rich, another barrier that people are going to have for me is, well, I want to show my face and don't. Because I show my face all the time. It doesn't sell anything. So next thing is we have newsletter. So this is a long form text, and then we have social media posts. So all of this basically right here needs to go ahead and end up into a WAP community. And you guys are already part of that funnel right now. So if you guys want to get this webinar recording, you guys are going to go ahead and you guys are going to go into this little WAP community here, and we're going to go out there and try to convert you. Now, right now, we have somebody like Vaishali who's joining us from the UK. And from what I understand, time difference wise, it's currently midnight. So I'm assuming since this is the second call that you showed up to so far, we've showed enough value where you're going to show up again. But does that mean you're gonna pay? Nah, fuck. Not yet, dude. So what do you need to do? You need to go ahead and keep people engaged. You want to know why? Because to convert a stranger into a buyer, you need about 7 hours. You need 7 hours to convert a stranger into a buyer. In fact, the study is actually done by Google, and you guys should actually know these numbers like the back of your hand. Because most of you here have been impacted by a layoff, and most of you here are wondering why the market is so bad. After about 30 to 45 days after the Ukraine invasion, the market took a different swing. Money was more difficult to come across. So it's more difficult for businesses to take money out of your pocket and put it into their bank account. So why? Because people don't trust as much, right? We're doing this call right now because most of you guys think I'm fucking full of shit anyways. But we have enough value where you guys are coming back. So you need 7 hours. You need 7 hours of somebody hearing something 11 times over for them to go ahead and convert. And they ideally need to hear it from 4 different platforms. And you need to say this on an interview so they understand that you understand something called user acquisition, which is the next cohort that my buddy James here is going to be hosting, which is the user acquisition cohort, if you want to target something called growth product manager jobs. So I'm going to tell you guys this. About 11 years ago, okay, what got me into the bootcamp business was I knew somebody that I didn't want to go out there and do, like, I thought she was wrong for a bootcamp fit. That person was my ex-girlfriend. Okay, she went to General Assembly and they're like, yo, it's $15,000 for a web development immersive. James did something very similar to that at App Academy, right? And the hilarious thing was basically this. Ain't no way some Asian couple gonna hand over 15,000 cash money like that. But they're like, well, you look like you still want to be a web developer. Why don't you come back and hang out? So by the fourth day, she just handed the money over. You want to know why? If I was talking to you for 77 hours straight, the chances of me converting your ass exponentially goes up from a stranger into a paid customer. So this is why companies are investing so much money into influencers. This is why. Common Perplexity, they're not just having random actors anymore. They have influencers, right? And this is where you can be an influencer because if they trust you, they'll trust Common. Okay. I don't, Steve brought an interesting question here about Manus, right? But if Steve is a fan of Richard, or if Steve is a fan of Kylie, and Kylie says, at first I wasn't going to use Manus, but they invited me over to their new office in Boston, and I actually got a chance to play with it. And I got to say, I'm sold. She is now a mouthpiece for Manus, right? And now actually people want to buy Manus. So what we need to do is mobilize your app over here. So where does that begin? Number one, all of your content begins with problem statements. That's why problem statements are so important because it digs in on the pain. The next thing here is let's go ahead and utilize my TikTok here. We want to show the app in action. So if I was to go ahead and do it right now, this is actually a very comparable product, and it's called Dojo. And what it does right now is it helps people cold call better. It's also voice AI.
Companies completely eliminate the
How do you eliminate the fear of cold calling with AI?
fear of cold calling for their team members using Dojo AI. Hello. Hi, can we go ahead and speak with Ryan? This is Ryan speaking. Who am I talking to, and what can I do for you today?
Okay. So what we would do for Chosen is something very similar, is we would go ahead and say, hey, you know, are you tired of going out there? Like, are you tired of going on product manager interviews, but you're not converting those interviews into offers, or they're ghosting you, or you're going all the way to the final round? They don't reject you, but you also don't have an offer letter. I just gave out three problem statements, right? Well, maybe the problem is in your background. Maybe your interview pitch isn't doing justice to the amount of awesomeness that you're bringing into the actual job. And are they going to drop 9.95 on Kylie's interview app here? Prob's not. But what if you said, hey, I'm going to give you a trial? That's where we mobilize them into this community so she can go out there and collect more data, and she can go out there and start up a conversation with other users who is actually going to go out there and pay up. Because the more people are telling her what they want on the app, the more she can go out there and improve on the side project to get people to buy. So if I sold like a one product manager resume template, you guys would be like, I'm not buying that product manager resume template. If I gave you 100 product manager resume templates, now all of a sudden you probably think about shelling out $7. So you take the feedback, you gather it, and then you beef up your offer some more, and then you create some more content, and then you just throw it out some more. You lower the price enough, you will go ahead and acquire users, right? So this is economics, lower price, increase market share. Once you actually get more people, once you acquire more users actually on your platform, you can improve the product so you can go out there and increase the price on the back end. Now, the other problem that I get with product managers are going to say like, but Rich, but why would somebody trust me? Okay. Do I look like I've ever installed an air conditioning unit before in my life? Probably not, right? But okay, but see here, another person here just said cyber. They actually wanted it. I have right here, I just highlighted this. This is a cybersecurity study guide. I'm selling it for 37 bucks. If you want to join our affiliate army, it's a great side project for you guys to actually show. We're actually going to demo this for you guys one of the days out this week, right? But I'm showing people all of the cybersecurity questions that I have for all of the exams, which is like close to 5 exams out there. And I'm going to give it all to you. And if you want it, just say cyber CompTIA A plus, and they're just like cyber, 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 cyber. Boom! You show this on a product manager interview, they're going to think you're really hot because they're going to be like, "Oh shit, you know how to acquire users." I come out and let's just take a look at my messages. Boom. Cyber, 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 cyber. Oh shit, man, we got to get back on this. I'm too focused on getting Look at this, James. Cyber, 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 right? And then you go out there and now you can go out there and acquire, you can go out there and basically acquire users. Let's take a look at comments. Cyber, 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 cyber. So the truth is like you don't really now with like vibe coding and like AI and TikTok and Instagram. I mean, in like 6 months, you don't even need like a budget anymore to film a Mission Impossible movie. You'll just be able to prompt that shit on your own. I think Tom Cruise might be out the job, right? You can just go out there and just launch a product. And that's all you need. If you guys have like any other like doubts about that, Cluely as just an interview cheating tool off of TikTok, because I'm very pumped up about what Kylie actually has to offer right here is this guy did about this guy just showing his app of how he used a voice AI cheating tool to cheat on an Amazon software engineering interview. He did $7 million in a week. So when so it can move fast. So yeah, that was like at a very low level. That was it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna preface it's like one of the important things about building your growth is building your communities. So understanding where your community is speaking is quite whether that is going to be in a Reddit feed, whether you find that Facebook group, whether you connect with a big reason why I'm partnering with like Rich and his organization is because of the size of his influence within the project manager community. Reaching out, you'd be surprised how receptive people would be to connect with you and then collectively showing that proof. You'd be having a partner is quite critical. And that's why when you see all these other social media channels growing, they're connecting with other people in the community as well. I've worked a lot in social media where I've helped build over millions, worked for like organizations like Remy Martin. And the key thing is getting those right people to recognize your brand and what you're selling. So I just figured I don't even think Rich knew that. So here we are.
I mean, 100%. So I'll give you guys also like right now a lot of people are also thinking about like a lot of people are also thinking a lot about like, oh, like they're thinking product first when you should honestly be thinking about marketing and distribution first. And they're doing that across other verticals too. Like if you're taking a look at this is just one example, right? Which is building kind of like your own fan club and your own story. So this is a Korean-owned burger chain out there in LA. And they actually, it's kind of like the typical Asian American story where they're like, yo, we quit our corporate jobs because we wanted to be burger restaurant owners, right? And they're actually making this whole episode where they're like, hey, uh, like we're setting up a restaurant. We have absolutely no idea whether or not this is actually going to go out there and work. And then people end up showing up supporting that restaurant because they're supporting the individual. So you guys are thinking about like, oh, we need to compete on skills. Like, there's somebody out there using Lovable 50 times better than like the three people talking on this panel right now, right? But there's also somebody else that's like not, but they're resonating them with their story. And actually, that's something that we learned when we were dropping content about like hosting. At first, people were thinking to themselves, I don't want people to know that I'm doing like a product management program uh, to go ahead and get a product manager job. But what ended up happening was so many people were hiring people just because they saw like the whole 0 to 1 journey. You guys are seeing that on every single product manager job description right now is like, we're looking for a 0 to 1 product manager. They want to know the story. In fact, like one of the VCs that James and I knows here, this is actually an even better adage is -1 to 0. Everybody wants to see how it was even before it was, right? That's why like a lot of people they actually like talking to James because James actually knew Product Jim before we even had the main Product Jim. It was just like we're gonna get you a PM job. Um, this is also like another story. I'm gonna go out there and pop this link in here. These kids like absolutely crushed it. 4 Korean Canadian kids flew to Korea and they competed and won.
Don't sign up in 36 hours to actually get funding? Because if we do, we're getting a steak dinner. So the original plan was to book an Airbnb, grind all week until
This is a 60-second clip, by the way.
launch our app. But at the last minute, I found out there was a hackathon hosted by Coupon. And since our app integrates with Coupon, we had to sign up. So after a team dinner, we started building the app. But we got too focused on perfection, spending hours sketching screens and debating features. It looked like rocket science. After we fueled with caffeine free, we were able to finally lock in. Just like that, it was morning. Time to head to the hackathon. The commute was long as hell, and we passed out on the way there. But the venue, holy crap. Office was unreal. We got free swag, free food, and then we dipped straight back to the Airbnb to grind. We all took a much needed shower, and we were tired as hell, so we worked from bed. I ended up taking a 3 hour nap, but that was all I needed. We had tunnel vision and locked in until morning. Heading back to the venue, we were still submitting final changes at the subway, and as soon as we got there, it was time to pitch. I low-key passed out after, but I woke up to find out that we had made the finals with the last team to pitch, so I was low-key nervous and jittery. Then it was go time. It felt scripted. Right after we pitched, people started coming up to us saying that we were the clear winners, one network with us. We didn't want to jinx it, but then it was time for the results. So guys, I think we're Oh my God. Guys, we actually did it. Ah, funds for dinner. What the frick? We just won the biggest hackathon in Korea. I'm telling you guys, everything about this weekend felt like it was great. This just goes to show you that being spontaneous, taking the opportunities in front of you, and a little bit of luck, you can do anything. I guess it really is possible. So follow along as we continue to build the startup.
Did you guys know, did they say anything about the freaking app? They didn't say one damn thing about the app. They could have been selling fucking rubber bands, right? But check their app right now, Yorigo, on the App Store to see how many freaking users they have right now. It's about like creating the story behind the individual. You can't just compete on skills as a product manager anymore. They gotta like buy into you as like, your story. So alongside, I'll answer a few more questions before I go out there and hop out to dinner. Uh, some of you guys are probably looking at that like, what does that have to do with product management? Have you noticed people getting jobs or approaching it in like the weirdest ways possible, YouTube channels and hackathons? And everybody else that's like so smart with all these degrees and certifications are like, why the fuck don't I have a job? It's because you're too smart. There you
Oh man.
go,
Did
Justin.
we did we get this last question from Tanil?
No,
I'm
we did
sorry, I
not.
was
I
kind of
just saw this one
multitasking.
pop in because it's this one's at
Yeah.
1901. How do you navigate the issue of IP? IP?
No, no, I think this is like if you ever read an employment agreement,
Mhm.
right? It's pretty scary, right? And especially if you're working at a large enough company. Um, I had the same question 18 years ago when I first read my employment agreement. Um, these big companies are not in the business of stealing your IP. They're in the business of de-risking their employment of your services. And so you just don't have to give them a reason, right? Um, like as long as you're not sitting there at your desk at the office trying to code or using your company's machine or your company's accounts to do anything for yourself, you're in decent shape, right? And so I wouldn't be concerned with that at all. And it would be a problem like if it started to grow to something that you're actually has legs of its own, that's when you make the decision to leave. But again, companies are not in the business of stealing their employees' ideas, IP, etc. Right? Unless you're working at some like lab somewhere, right? Or you're in like a very like uniquely technical or scientific space, I would say.
Yeah. Uh,
Only maybe say maybe one point. If the product is exactly the same as your
Oh,
company, that is
yes.
probably something
yeah.
Yeah.
to keep in mind.
Well,
So just
yes.
don't be the direct competitor. I would just be a little smart with that. But
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
we're
that
not lawyers. If you think your product is like, speak to it. Yeah, this is talking
Yeah,
from.
no, I didn't think that I needed to add that, Kylie, but that's a good one. Like, don't
Yeah.
do anything in your space, right? And if you are, like, be very cautious about it, right?
Exactly in your
Yeah,
space.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking the exact same thing. If you're in finance, finance is a very big
Yep, yep, yep.
field. It's about being niche within that. So if you're
Yeah,
financial planning for accountants, and then you're also building a financial planning for accountants, a direct competitor, that's probably where the signals will raise a little bit there. Um, yeah. So
yep, yep.
Yeah. It's great. Great
And
question.
yeah, like I mean, Brian Armstrong, the CEO and founder of Coinbase, like is notorious for coming out. He was an engineer at Airbnb, I believe, and he's been out here and he's constantly talks about how he moonlighted to build Coinbase after hours, right? And so he was building while he was employed at Airbnb Gamefully, and so yeah, just not something that you need to be worried about at all. Awesome. I know you mentioned you have dinner coming up, Rich, and
I
so
could talk. I could talk for a little bit.
last round for questions.
Last round for
Um,
I mean,
questions.
Rich, can you change the host? I can stay for like 20, 30 minutes.
Whoa.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Ooh, wanna rock with Jenny.
If you
Uh,
want, I'm just giving you
no, no, no,
that.
no, no, 100%. I
Uh,
mean, what are you gonna do? Host access, man. Go ham with
uh,
that super channel too. No, yeah, I'll hand that over. Anybody have any other questions? Want to make it more of a discussion? I know a lot of people feel like it's like a lot to go out there and take in, but I think like if you guys just really just like lock in, um, reach out to me. I mean, I put my LinkedIn out there. You guys can reach out to Kylie, reach out to James. It's just like lock in and just commit to the work. I honestly like I haven't seen anybody go all out and like not get multiple product manager offers, to just tell you guys the truth. I also haven't seen anybody that really drove their I've seen some shit like I've seen some pretty shitty one of the best if anybody needs like vibe coding suggestions out there, I'm gonna tell you guys this. If you do something with hair loss, I actually just saw this. They're gonna put some public health funds on health hair loss, but like things like height, acne, hair loss, weight loss, any one of those like emotional insecure, like anything that can go out there like for habits, um, is doing well, like on these vibe coding platforms. So like, and you can always just go ahead and prompt it on Gemini. Like, how would I go out there and create like a acne, anything that has to like does very well. But anyways, David, man, do tell, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, whichever.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I sent it to you guys specifically because also I don't want to hold people up, but I know that there's some vets in the room here too, so there's only
You're an actual vet, man. 86
yeah.
Airborne Division.
Yeah, about that. But yeah, I mean, I know that I think it was Nina who was in the military. But yeah, I mean, I'll hang around if you guys are going to leave the room open. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free. I'm also a PG grad, so can definitely give a little bit more insight in that.
Yeah. I was also happy if anyone had some problems that they came up with that they wanted to share. I'm also happy to go over those with them since we shared that template yesterday. If anyone wanted to come in ready with some ideas, I'm happy to go over those if you guys have any, or even have any questions on a certain persona or a solution. Yeah.
Anybody? Let's see here. This is like a real okay. Oh, finally, we got somebody here. Turn. Give me a second. Turn. Yeah, I think you have. I think I gave you talk access. Are you able?
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just after yesterday's question, I think I just a little bit of research and I found out the problem to be too complex to help me myself instead of just so I just think I'll just like probably apply manually. So I'm pivoting to some other problem, which is again which I found earlier when I was like doing some like or my friends or my cousins also go through and we talk a lot. It's mostly when you're like buying a car, and so decision through that, like researches on that. So I think maybe I can just um, do something like AI car assist. So that's my idea. Um, so again, I just want to make sure I'm already having like instead of scraping, I probably just go with like not go into too far, but like limit that idea to maybe just these are the cars available in the market from so and so year with what are your priorities and all and what can we suggest, and just limit to that and not go any further like and as you see in other sites to navigate and such, just making a decision to which car and model you're finalizing and then compare it, and then whatever you want to do next you can just go. But yeah, that's my idea. So I'm limiting it. Do you think it's a good idea uh, to proceed?
I I have some ideas with this because I bought a car maybe in 2020, and maybe something to play with is like play with the concept of lemon, because a lemon is a bad car.
Mhm.
So I made a terrible purchase on a car where I purchased a Mini Cooper and I paid probably $6,000 last year on car fees. If you go into a certain problem when you're going into purchasing, making sure there's the right investment. Also note tariffs are happening right now within this space, and that's directly impacting European pricing. I figured I'd just shell that idea because frankly, I was gonna actually build this hackathon idea, but Taran, you're
Oh,
happy
okay.
to take
Okay.
it. Yeah, you can take my cat copy, yeah, like if you want to. But I think the direction of like card purchasing, this is something that has a high frequency of happening. There's high usage around it. I would say maybe determine if you're doing new or used cars. Those use cases might be a little bit different from that perspective. So I figured I'd just give some insight there. James, I don't know if you have anything to
No, I
add.
think that's pretty spot on.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah. And just to let you know, you can also share why you didn't go into the scraping direction too. So that could also be like a content idea. Then you're like,
Hmm.
hey, I initially came up with this. After some research, I decided this is not the right investment. And here's why, because there are other tools, X, Y, and Z. Product
Yeah, but
managers, yeah,
primarily it was just basically it was like I cannot scrape enough with free. I had to use some
yeah,
APIs which were costing me. So investment point of
yeah,
view, as well as the complexity point of view, I think it wasn't worth to give more time to it. So yeah,
yeah.
that's why I just pivoted. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly the conversations that people in the space want to hear. So I just figured I'd give you a little, yeah, if you,
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Sure.
that's an awesome idea because there's plenty of people that are trying and getting blocked the same way you have, Tarun, and so it's probably going to resonate, right? Like if you're facing a problem, the odds are other people are, and so like looking at it from a different lens and perspective can be really um, creative and effective, right? I think that's an awesome sort of piece of advice from Kylie.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'll go out there and pop in some of these links here before we head out. But
Yeah.
everybody in here, there's no reason why you guys can't land a product manager role well before Valentine's Day. As you can see from the level, we have all these people here that is actually converted. We actually have some of the veterans that are actually just watching right now. So with that said, day 3 and day 4 is coming up. Do we have any New Yorkers in the house right now? For our New York folks, we have a product manager happy hour, uh, which I just popped in the link for. I'm going to be sending everybody emails to this, but all you got to do is just lock in, make some moves, and things will just start happening. It's not that complicated. All right. Anything
Awesome.
else? Going once, going twice?
Yeah, if
Okay.
no one has another, you can also ping me, DM me if you guys have any problems you want to go through. I'm happy to help them. Yeah,
These
yeah.
one-on-one therapy sessions.
Yeah.
I did it. It's like I love them. There's like but it's actually pretty hilarious because before I moved to Korea, I asked James like the same questions, and I was like, man, but do you think like you just gotta just go, Rich, just sell your shit and just go. Once you land there, you'll figure it out or
Yeah, it's the
not.
thing. Exactly. So you got to go to figure that out, you know?
We're all here for you. We got 2 more days. Demo day is coming up. All you guys are rock stars. I can't wait to see all of the ideas. We've had some iconic ones. Uh, Not to disrespect anybody, some of the dumbest ideas actually ended up making the most amount of money. So, no, do not. There is no dumb idea out there. There's no dumb idea out there. Just run it.
Sometimes
For
the
sure.
simplest idea ends up being the best one because that
Yeah.
is easier to sell. Because if you make it too complex,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
harder to get your foot in, like, get into that direction. So yeah.
Yeah, we've had some out there ones where people are like, hey, what the fuck? No way. And just to give you guys like kind of like an outlook of what the type of numbers that is possible out there. So give me a second. I'm just gonna share this. So James actually hosted this workshop in New York. But this is actually why you want to get your Stripe loan early. January, $216. February 2025, $189. March 2025, $386. But you see it trends up, right? April 2025, $941. May, 1600. June, 7,000 1785. July, 10,500. And it's hilarious because this is actually the part where everybody wants to know from James, like, well, how the fuck do I just go straight here? By going through this bullshit. No, you
Yeah,
cannot avoid it.
that's
That's
sad.
July. Okay. And then August, 8,300. And that's when people start asking, oh, what went wrong? What happened? Well, it's like immediately people are like just the negatives. And then boom, you go back out there and then you try to go out there and figure it out some more. 8,300, September, 10,300. We're a little bit back up. October, 11,000. And then boom, 30,000 on WAP for the month of November. So, I mean, it's very possible, but you guys got to go out there and show out the work. Don't overthink it, just run it. And I will give you guys some tips if you guys want to know more about this tomorrow. He didn't do it off one product. So the Spark Notes version of it is this: launch multiple products and promote multiple products. It's no small feat to go out there and go to market. You got to go to market at least 30 times. And you gotta just keep going and going and going and going and going and going. And like one product is only gonna get you like a few $100s. Where you're gonna start implementing and getting more money is actually if you start documenting your process about how you're making money doing that. Now you just 2x your rev, right? So bring this out in a product manager interview and they think you're gonna be a hot fire before I go. All right. Reach out to us individually if you guys want to go and talk one-on-one. For the rest of y'all here, welcome to the family. I have a few people I need to go out there and follow up with, but thank you guys so much for showing up. Thank you to our STEAM panelists. David, appreciate it, man. Thank you for always supporting all the way out there from LA. Kylie, James, Amit, thank y'all. Talk to you very soon.
Sounds
Bye.
good, guys. Good night, guys.
Yeah, night, guys.